Hey you guys, it's Christina and welcome back to my channel. It's officially 2018 and I'm so happy to have you guys here with me. I'm in Houston right now. It's cold outside. There's a lot of change in the air. A lot of people are really moving into this year with positivity and hope and inspiration. And today I thought it would be really cool to share with you what I have learned in 2017 and to also share with you these 5 things that I've learned from the top 5 mistakes that I've made. Does that make sense? Okay, let me rephrase that for a second. I'm gonna share with you the top 5 things that I've learned from the top 5 biggest mistakes that I've made in 2017. So essentially, I'm gonna be sharing with you things that I didn't do so well, what I really learned from them, and how I'm gonna carry those into this coming year to make it the best year ever. So I'm in my room right now. I don't usually do vlogs in my room, but I'd like to do more in my room. I used to be more organized, and most of this year I've actually been traveling. I think I only spent maybe 2 to 3 months in Texas this past year. So I'm considering doing a room makeover. If you guys would like me to do a room tour and a room makeover, give this video a thumbs up and show me some love in the comments below so that I can know if this is something you want. I'm gonna be making a ton of changes to my YouTube channel this year. Good changes. I want you guys to get to know me better. I wanna do more fun things like travel and eat and have fun and do more inspiration and yoga and fitness. I really want my channel to be more lifestyle based and more mind, body, spirit, and not just in the kitchen all the time. So I hope you guys are going to love the awesome content that I'm going to be putting out for you. I'm really excited and I'm excited for this evolution. I think it'll be so great and I'm here to help support you guys. I'm here to be a beacon of light for those who need it in the health and wellness world and hopefully in more. Before I share with you the top 5 things, I'm actually really hungry. I have not eaten yet today, so let's go make something to eat, shall we? It's so good. That is so good. Every time. Okay, so I know we need to get started. I'll be munching on this throughout our video, but I'm gonna put it to the side because we gotta do a little bit of talking. Okay, so let's jump right in to 2018 in the best and most positive of ways. Those of you who've been following me a while know that 2017 was probably not my best year. It was actually pretty tough on me emotionally and spiritually, and I've had to learn how to transition with grace. I closed down my co-op after 11 years, and that was devastating for me. I've experienced a lot of loss in my year, as I know so many of you out there have as well. And you know, so many emotions come up when we experience really challenging times, whether it be intense pain, abandonment, fear, sadness, heartache from breakups or more. There's so much that can really put us into a trapped mental state. And I spent my year traveling to try and free myself from a lot of the things that I was going through. I needed to see new things. I couldn't just be in one space. I missed my co-op. I missed the people. I missed doing this. I dwelled too much. And it became a really hard thing for me to do to be able to move forward. And it became one of my biggest challenges. And I've done so many different things this year to help pull me out of that place. I went to a Tony Robbins retreat. I've spent time with new people, made new friends, spent more quality time with my family, really just spent time nourishing myself and focusing on self-love. And from the 5 biggest mistakes that I made last year came 5 amazing, important things that I'm gonna focus on this year to keep myself moving forward. And I hope that these benefit you as well because they're pretty good. The first one, and these are a little deep, so I hope that you guys embrace these with love, and I'll put them on the screen and write them below. The first one is love what is. 3 simple words. I wrote notes here, so I'm gonna be sharing. Because I tend to dwell on the past, as many of us do. I relive that story. I can't go back and change that. I don't have control over that. And instead of living in the past, I've now chosen to live in the present and empower the story to help inspire me to help other people. And remember that there are some things that we can't change, right? Like the past. And so instead of dwelling and not accepting it and going down that spiral, perhaps just blessing it, loving the experience for all that it created for you and for making you into who you are and so much more. Loving what is and what's happened brings you in a place of acceptance and peace, as opposed to misery and regret and living in a state or in a past state that you can't change, or rather in living in the past or in circumstances that you can't change. So love what is has become a powerful mantra of mine, and I think this is so incredible. For those of you who have control issues or hate that you can't change things sometimes, maybe just write it on a little paper, post it, and just put it all over your room, like, love what is. Because the second that you do begin to love what is, then you can begin to appreciate everything around you and move forward in a beautiful and graceful way. Time for a little bikey break. If you can with me for just a second right now, think of something that really bothers you. Something that you have no control over, maybe perhaps a situation you could change or a circumstance you wish that you weren't in, and begin to actually pour love on it. Sprinkle it with fairy dust. Put light, surround light all around it. How does that change your feeling towards it? There's less resistance and there's more acceptance of it, and that shifts everything. Number 2 for me is give without expecting anything in return. I said before in this video that I've experienced a lot of loss this year. And maybe this is TMI for you guys, but when I closed down my business at the beginning of the year, when I didn't finish my book tour and so much more, I was in an enormous amount of debt. And even though I was in debt, I still kept promising things and giving things that I didn't have, because I felt like I wanted people to like me or love me, or somehow perhaps I was hoping that I would get it back in return or expect it to come back to me tenfold. Lesson learned for me: only give when you expect absolutely nothing in return. Even if you lend a shirt to a friend, lend it and never expect to get that shirt back again. Maybe perhaps just gift it to a friend. Maybe give it to them knowing that you'll never get it back. And in a similar way, love without expectation, love without condition, give without expectation, give without condition. Live life in a way that serves others and gives to others without expecting anything in return. Give and serve others in a way that leaves you at peace and whole and happy for the opportunity to help somebody or to make their life better. It's not about you, it's about giving. It's not about receiving, it's about loving. And if in the moment where you do need to lend something out and you hope to have it back, maybe ask yourself, how can I better help to serve this person so that they're not depending on me for something? What is the greatest gift you can give somebody in that moment? Number 3, speak up and set boundaries. There have been so many times in 2017 where I was dissatisfied with something, or I was afraid to say something, or something was not done the way that I would have done it, or somebody did something to hurt me, or you can name the scenario. And I didn't say anything at all. I just went silent on them because I figured that silence is golden. But silence kills a lot more than you can possibly imagine. It can make any great relationship turn sour. It can hurt people in a way because they may think that you don't like them. Judgments fly around like you wouldn't imagine. Silence can be very detrimental, and what I have learned is that communication is absolutely key. If you want to fix something, you have to speak up, you have to communicate, you have to be courageous and brave enough to be able to express how you feel, what you desire, what works for you and what doesn't. And it doesn't really matter what the other person thinks, because if that person loves you, you two will work it out. It doesn't matter the circumstance or the situation. But speaking up and knowing your boundaries and standing up for yourself is an important thing. I also say this because at some point last year, I went into this very victim mentality of all these things were happening to me. I also say this because last year I went into this very victim mentality. All these things were happening to me. How do I escape? And then I realized that I didn't really speak up for myself. I really didn't stand up for myself. My gosh, I've been in the YouTube community for years. Many of you have watched me be bullied. Be bullied by other vegans, and moments been super awful for me, and most of the time I didn't know how to deal with it, so I just stayed silent and I never stood up for myself. And I think that almost hurt worse than me speaking kindly about it in a brave and courageous way, in a respectful way, or an inspirational way to help other people move through it too. For any of you who've been bullied before, you know it's not a good feeling. And it doesn't really help other people or teach other people how to do the same, especially if you're a woman or a girl who's trying to find her place in the world. So, moral of number 3, be brave and courageous. Speak up and set your boundaries. You will feel so much better, I promise. Number 4, change my question. Now let me explain this one a little bit, because I learned this at Tony Robbins, that each of us has a primary question that we have, that we ask ourselves continuously throughout our lives, throughout our day, throughout our week. That question can shift and change. And oftentimes this question can be something that we repeat to ourselves in a negative tone. For instance, it would be something like, why does this always happen to me? Why am I the victim? Why don't they like me? What are they thinking? Why does everybody leave me? And it can just be something that you don't even realize that you're thinking, but that it affects everything that you do. And so I've chosen to shift my focus, and anytime a question pops up that I feel doesn't have the most positive radiance around it, that I'll shift it. So for instance, I've had abandonment issues ever since I was a little girl. More so mother-related issues, and it's affected my entire life in the way that I fear that people will come in and out of my life and betray me or hurt me in some way. And my primary question, I discovered this at the conference, was, is this person going to leave me? Like, it's a very strange thing. I'm sure everybody has their odd question, but like when I first meet somebody, like that's the first question that pops into my mind. My second question is usually that I have recently dug deep to find is, why is this happening, right? Like with so many shocking and surprising things that have happened in 2017, I'm sure many of you guys have asked, why is this happening? And I've had to shift my question to now be, anytime I think that, to repeat it and ask myself, how can I appreciate God's guidance and love and every person who is present in my life in this moment in time? It takes me out of the past, it takes me out of the future, and it puts me right here in the present to appreciate every single person and thing that I have right now. It doesn't come from a place of fear, it comes from a place of love. I encourage you to sit for about an hour and just start writing down every question that you've ever asked yourself. The questions that come out of fear. And then pick your questions and start writing more positive shifts to those questions. Bye break. Bye break. Number 5, honor the presence of grace in your life in every single given moment. This has been a big one for me. For all of the really tough moments that I thought I was having this year, for all the things that I wish didn't happen this year, I go back now and I acknowledge that grace was present with me every single time. And that's something that almost makes me cry because, gosh, even the unimaginable has happened at times. And you think, how could I feel so alone? How could I be left this way? But the truth is, I believe that God was protecting you, me, all along from something much worse from happening. And the things that happen for us and not to us. They happen for us and not against us. We're not victims. We aren't here living the worst life ever. We're here to live our path and our journey and to help other people. And the moment that I went back, like to every single memory, I sat down and I thought about everything that happened this year. I thought about how grace was present in each moment. And even though I couldn't see it while I was in it, I saw it in hindsight looking back. And I always say we can never see why things are happening in the present moment, but in hindsight, they make perfect sense, right? I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, but for me, it's so true. Something that I didn't want to happen 10 years ago, it's like, wow, I'm so glad that that happened because I'm really glad that that didn't work out, right? But I'm only able to say that now, 10 years later, after it's passed and I have no emotional attachment to it. So for me, perhaps this goes back to expressing gratitude for every moment that you have and understanding and realizing that grace was with you all along. And maybe that'll help us to move forward and recognize that even in moments, difficult moments that we'll have moving forward, grace is still with us. So maybe perhaps you'll still feel safe and hopeful and trust that everything will be okay. I have a lot more to share, but I feel like that's good for this video because then I can share more in future videos and I can inspire more. I truly would love to be a beacon of light and health and hope and inspiration, joy, fitness, fun, love for every single person who comes to my channel, for every single person who's here. I love and appreciate you guys so much. Without you, I wouldn't still be here doing this. You bring me so much joy and I just want to tell you that. If you've liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Join the family because I'm really going to be changing it up in 2018 and I hope you guys like it. So without further ado, I thank you all for joining me and I'll send you my hugs and my love.